Thank you. It's very nice to be here with so many people that I recognize, so many, not in the tuxes, I don't recognize you as much, but that have inspired me my whole life, making unbelievable visual effects. And now doing it on films that I'm a part of, which is kind of a dream come true. So last year, this group was kind enough to honor my friend and colleague at Marvel Studios, Victoria Alonso. And I'm very, I'm very glad that we get to keep it in the Marvel Studios family tonight as we're here to recognize the talents of Mr. Jon Favreau. Now, Jon, I was very honored to be asked to do this for Jon. He asked that I keep it short. I have no interest in long speeches, so I will keep it very short. He's very smart. He knows you bring in somebody less funny, less charismatic than you before you come on stage. He's very savvy. He's very savvy. He doesn't need much of an introduction. Jon is a master of his craft. He's got a knack for making cultural touchstones over the years. Swingers, Elf, Zathura. You knew there was potential in a Jumanji sequel, Jon. You knew it. It's a little ahead of your time. Chef, Jungle Book. He's got another one coming up with The Lion King. What you might not know about Jon is that he can see into the future. You sort of have to see into the future to hit all of these cultural touchstones that he does. He can see into the future. Soon after we hired him to do Iron Man 1, which kicked off our entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, we were sitting in a room, literally the first or second meeting we had together. And I said, Jon, you know, we're going to collaborate closely and 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the next 2 years. And he stopped me and he said, no, Kevin, if we do our job right, we'll be together for 10 years. And that meeting was 12 years ago, Jon. 12 years ago. When we were looking for a filmmaker to kick off, really we didn't know we were going to make a cinematic universe. We knew we wanted to make a good movie called Iron Man. And what sealed the deal for us was this scene in Elf. You know the scene, the great moment where Santa's sleigh crashes into Central Park. It runs out of Christmas magic. Buddy the Elf and his family restores the city of New York's belief in Christmas, and the sleigh rises up again over Fifth Avenue. That's a great action scene. That's a great visual effects sequence that's full of heart, full of emotion. That was really what cinched the deal for us. And it's one of the reasons Elf now is the classic every year Christmas that it is. The magic we were looking to make sure that the MCU took off on the right foot, Jon was the person to do it. The truth is, Jon, you set the tone, the structure, and basically established how we made movies for the 10 years that followed that. Jon started as a student and a fan of VFX films. He pushes boundaries. He never settles for anything less than the best. He became the master. He's now the person we call the godfather of Marvel Studios. On Iron Man, Jon established weekly art department and previs meetings where we would collaborate, we'd talk through the animatics, we'd tweak the look of Iron Man's suit. These meetings were so successful that we went on to institute them on every single film we've made since then. Jon set that tone. He's a master, he's a teacher. He graciously will come to Marvel Studios to meet with new filmmakers, teach them about cutting-edge visual effects, helping to expand our universe. Of course, his talents are not just limited to directing. He's an actor. He plays Happy Hogan for us in every single Iron Man film, in Spider-Man Homecoming. He will join a little battle we have coming up called Avengers Infinity War. It's also worth noting, speaking of which, in terms of the amount of he's brought to previs and to the process. I'm just nerding out for a minute because he does a voice. He did a voice on Star Wars: The Clone Wars where he played a Mandalorian warrior named Pre Vizsla. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. In the last 10 years, Jon has gone from his work on Iron Man to creating a host of new worlds and environments. Most recently, the incredibly detailed setting of the Jungle Book. I had a chance to visit him on the set of The Lion King, and I can tell you yet again, he's pushing our craft and the films that we all love forward into the future. Time after time, he's moved the bar higher for visual effects. In storytelling, there is no one more deserving of the Lifetime Achievement Award from the Visual Effects Society. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to introduce this year's honoree, a great actor, a great filmmaker, the godfather of Marvel Studios, and my friend, Jon Favreau.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I really will treasure this. This means so much to me. And thank you, Kevin. I'm so happy Robert wasn't available. I'm kidding, I asked you first. You were the first person, and my God, I feel like I don't have to say anything else. It's so flattering. Thank you for those kind words. And thank you, and Disney for giving me the opportunity to see what can be achieved by having your support, and the Visual Effects Society for the recognition, my family as well. But I just, you know, you're giving me an award for the work you all did. It's the truth of it. So I'm not going to talk about me. I want to talk about all of you, because just going around this room and seeing all the people that I work with and I've learned from, I don't feel like a teacher. I feel like a student. I've always loved these kind of movies. I've always loved, I remember on Grandma's black and white TV, if Jason and the Argonauts popped on, we would all, you know, back then you had to watch what was on TV. And if you got lucky enough to see one of those classics, you were riveted. My dad took me to see the reissue of the old stop-motion King Kong. And he was my first visual effects supervisor and cameraman when I was making my movies. And I said, Dad, we're making a Super 8 movie when I was like 9. I said, I really want to do it in black and white. And that set the tone. He indulged me, and we found black and white Super 8 film in the 80s, which is not an easy task. But all of you that I learned from, and seeing people, it was like I'm so glad I came here. I jotted down some people that, and this isn't all of them, but just Rob Legato, Adam Valdez, Andy Jones, Joe Bauer, John Nelson, Victoria, Joe Lettieri, Dan Lemon, Yannick Surs, Roger Guyette, Joyce Cox, Joe Comney, and somebody who's not here, who I wish was, Stan Winston, who taught me a lot. Here's what I learned, because, and I loved what Joe said about Méliès and PJ said about Méliès, which is, you know, he was an illusionist, he was a magician. And anybody who's a magician knows that there's no trick to magic. The trick is hard work and commitment and learning and attention to detail and caring so much what the audience perceives. And that this is not about technology. That's what I learned. We know that we're all using tools that are pretty similar to one another. It's the people, it's the artists. We are making a hand-painted tiles for a mosaic that creates a movie. And it was that insight that allowed me to do work that's so beautiful, and that allows me to understand how to get the best work out of all of you wonderful, talented, hardworking people. But the real thing I'm grateful for is that the marriage between technology and storytelling, and technology, remember, is indistinguishable from magic, so you could use those terms interchangeably, right? But when you bring magic, new magic with the old myths, you make an impact that is heard around the world, but more importantly, from generation to the next. And just as we were drawn into the films that made us pursue the careers that we do, there are people around the world, kids around the world, who are learning the lessons of each generation because we create magic around them, and they become receptive. Because if Yoda couldn't make that X-Wing come out of the swamp, who would have wanted to hear about the Force, you know, or that lightsaber? So we shroud all of these myths with the magic, and that combination is enduring. It's what I love so much about the work of Joseph Campbell, and each new technology offers that opportunity. And so I invite all of us, in a time when we need empathy, we need understanding and connection, in a time when people are pushed apart, let's use these wonderful tools to pull us all together and show how much we have in common with all of humanity and how we're all citizens of the world together. Thank you very much.